Hey guys, welcome to another mod spotlight this time. Second mod spotlight this week. What am I thinking? Today we're actually going to be looking at something that you're probably all very familiar with already, or have at least seen in action, and that is not enough items. And you're going to say, well, Q, why are you going to spotlight not enough items? We all use that, we all know what it does. Well, we all may know what it does, but you may not all be familiar with all of the functions, because it has got some functions that you won't normally use on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to go over the whole thing though, just so that you know, even if you're not familiar with it, you'll be able to get a grasp of what the mod is telling you. So we'll start by just going through this interface that you can see here. Now, the first keybind that you might want to make yourself aware of, if you're not seeing this interface, is O. So if you press O, it will toggle on and off this interface, and you might want to do that if these icons on the right hand side here get in the way of some interface that you're working with. I'm thinking probably particularly about the Steve's Carts interfaces that tend to be quite big. You might want to hide that recipe area away while you look at that. Now we have the options button here, which is a completely separate menu, so we'll skip over that and we'll come back to that at the very end. These buttons here basically allow you to save your inventory. So if I just grab some inventory like that, save that, and then add something else in and save that as number 2, we can actually switch between the two inventories at will. Now you might want to use that if you're doing a lot of creative building and you want to have different sets of things set up on your hotbar. You'll be able to easily switch between them, and you can set up to 7 up, and you can delete them just by clicking the X on the right hand side there, and that will quite easily just get rid of the save for you. Up on the top left corner here we have a number of icons, and these are all kind of cheat icons, if you like. Some of them are a utility, and you can set in the config file which of these icons will show up in utility mode, and we'll go over utility mode in a minute. At the moment I'm in cheat mode, so we can see all of the icons here, and you've got a trash can there, so if I wanted to get rid of something I can just drag it, drop it onto the trash can, or I can click it and highlight it like that, and then everything that I left click on my interface will be deleted. I can also hold shift, and if I click shift while if I click the trash can while holding shift, I'll delete all in items from my inventory, and that will go with the creative inventory as well, which I'll show you in a minute. The other thing you can do is if you turn delete mode on and shift and click, you'll delete all items of that type. And actually I should have put 2 different types on there, just so that you can see that it will only delete one type. So turn delete mode on and shift and click, and it will just delete the Ruby blocks. The other button here, turn rain on and off, it has started raining, so we'll turn the rain off. Now what you might want to do, if you're the rain will eventually stop, if you're going to be, say, doing as I'm doing, recording for YouTube's, you might want to right click that and turn the rain off completely. So now it's never going to rain, which is really handy. And you can turn that back on just by left clicking the icon. So right click to turn it off, left click to turn it back on. If you've enabled it, you can left click to actually make it rain. There you go, rain's turned on. Left click to turn it off, and then you can also disable rain completely. The creative mode, if you hit that button once, you'll basically get into your standard creative inventory. Now I've got a couple of mods. I've only got a couple of mods installed, just so that we can see what we've got. Otherwise, it's just any eye on this instance. So that's your normal standard creative inventory that you may well be used to already. If you click the button again, you'll actually get Creative Plus mode, and this gives you access to your paper doll, so you can equip armor. You've also got a creative inventory here, which is what's it, 6x9 storage space in addition to your standard inventory, so you can store items up here if you want. And if you control and right click on that, you can give yourself whatever it is that you're clicking on, and you keep that in there. It's very handy to be able to do that as well. So that's your Creative Plus mode. Then we have, give me something else, something other than let's do that. We have Magnet mode. Now Magnet mode is a little different. What it will do is basically pull items towards you, so that way it will basically just, you won't be able to lose anything. It's kind of cheaty. It is set up as being a utility icon initially in the default config, so you should be able to get to that there. So yeah, just got the toggle there, turning it on and off. Then underneath that, this whole row here is time settings, so we can set it to morning, noon, dusk, which should be, yeah, dusk, and midnight, like so. And you can also, with these icons, right click to disable them as well. So if you wanted to do a spotlight during the day or something like that, you can just have it permanently set to noon. The last icon here is just heal the player. That will heal you up to full, which again, some may want that as a utility thing, but it's quite cheaty. I think by default it's not on the utility menu. The next bar across the top, this gives you access to your various options for toggling what shows up on the right hand side, and you can quite easily, if you right click one of these, it will disable it and turn it off on the right hand side. So let's go on there, because our mob spawners, we can see, if I just, you right click to disable, left click to turn them back on. You can also do it with all of one thing. So if we right click on mob spawners, all the mob spawners disappear. And you can basically set that for all of these things. So if we wanted to turn off red power micro blocks, we can do that, and then all our red power micro blocks are now not showing up in our pages on the right hand side here, which you may or may not want. It's entirely up to you, but you have the option to turn these things on and off, and you can turn off vanilla stuff as well. The next bit over here, which is the main part of the interface, you've got your previous and your next buttons here. I think you can also use page up and page down to cycle between these pages. In cheat mode, if you wanted to find a recipe of one of these things, you need to hover over the icon and press R by default. you can reconfigure it. That will give you the recipe. If you wanted to find what something is used in, like I said, this red alloy wire, you just press U and then you can see some of the recipes. Now this interface itself has a number of useful things to be aware of. Along the top here, it will tell you one way of making, or one machine or method of crafting. So here we have shape crafting. If we right click, we can see that we can do something in the alloy furnace with it as well, and you can toggle between those two. The question mark here basically will put a ghost image of that recipe into the crafting table that you're looking at, which for us is this. So if that's actually not going to work on your normal 2x2. If you do it on here though, if you look in here, pressing U there, that will actually paste your ghost items into your crafting table for you. Now some mods make better use of this than others, like the Exact Crafter that I've been using recently will make really good use of this functionality, so that's something to bear in mind as well. If you're in regular recipe mode, a left click on these will show you the recipe and a right click will show you the uses, so that's something to bear in mind. R and U will still work as well in the recipe mode, so you don't need to worry too much about that. This bit down the bottom where you can plus and minus, you can also click in and change the number there. That number is basically going to correspond with how many things you will get when you left click, because if you left click in cheat mode, you'll actually give yourself, by default if it's 0, you'll give yourself a stack of them. If you just wanted one, you can either right click to give yourself one, or set that to 1. So if I set that to 0 and right click, I'm only going to get 1, or hit +1 and get 1 with a left click. So that's how that bottom bar there is used. Over here, this is the search bar, so if you wanted to actually look something up like a crafting table, you can just type that in and this will dynamically update and show you what matches whatever text you've put in there. The other thing that you can use this search bar for, if I just look for resin there, if you double click on it, what it will do is it will grey out all the items, all the squares in your inventory, except for the ones that match whatever search you've got in here. So we've got resin currently that are highlighted because I've got the yellow box around there, basically showing that I'm searching my inventory for resin. Now if I were to change that to something else, like an inverted lamp, there you go, we can see that there. Now that will work if you're looking at chests or things like that, so if you know you've got that couple of pieces of glass somewhere and you can't remember which chest it is, you can use this functionality to figure that out. The other thing you can do here is if you right click into that box, it will actually clear it out for you as well, so you don't need to backspace all the time. You can just right click into it and that will clear it, and you toggle between those two modes by double clicking. So you double click, that's when you're going to get your inventory search, and double click to get your regular search. So if all your inventory spots are going grey for whatever reason, you know how to turn it off now. Which brings us on to the options, and the options are they're really quite useful, and some of them are more useful when you're actually setting up your instance, and some you can just tailor to however you're playing. Now you get the option at the top here to pick between world options and global options, and we've only got one world, so this is all greyed out at the moment. But you can enable and disable NEI completely. If you disable it, then you still get the options button down here, which is a little bit separate to the O key. The O key just turns off the interface, whereas actually disabling NEI turns off the functionality. You've got the mode button here. Now cheat mode is where if you left click on something you're going to spawn stuff in, or right click is going to spawn stuff in as well. You've got recipe mode, and that's when your left click gives you the recipe and the right click gives you the uses. Then you've got utility mode. Now utility mode is a little bit different. You get a subset of items here, of icons here, which you can actually define in your config file. So here we just got, by default you get Magna mode and the delete the trash can. So that is the mode button. Now you can choose on this button here between the Minecraft layout and the old too many items layout, and that I think is just a bit of an icon change and basically just a different skin on the interface, which you may prefer, you may not. Then here we have the ability to choose whether item IDs are going to be displayed in the tooltips as you mouse over things. I think by default it's on auto, and you can either show them or hide them depending on your preference. And that is, as you see here, the numbers after where it says lime wool 35.5, that's the item ID. If we turn that off to hidden, that's just going to disappear. So if you want to see that for whatever reason, and you might need it if you're trying to match things up in, say, the Forge Lexicon, that would be where you toggle that on and off. Highlight tips. Now this is something a little bit different. Now what this will do is, and it's probably more useful if you're just learning a new texture pack, or if you've just installed a mod and you don't know what the ores look like or something like that. But as I look at a block in the top right hand corner, you'll see it tells me what block that is that I'm looking at, which you may, as I say, you may find useful. Probably particularly if you're looking at ores that you're not familiar with, things like that. But that is in the highlight tips. So if I turn that off and make them hidden, we won't get those tips in the top right corner anymore. Block and item ID settings. Now this is the part of NEI that I kind of covered in my modding with multi-MC video, and this will allow us to identify which item IDs and block IDs are not being used, so that we can reconfigure our new mods item IDs into spaces that aren't being used by other mods. And the way we do that is you can basically toggle what is being shown in your ID map that you can write to disk by clicking on this button. So we can choose to show or hide the unused block IDs. We can choose to ignore or dump the block IDs. The same with the item IDs and the unused item IDs. Here we can choose whether we want to dump the ID map every time we load the game up, or do nothing. So we can choose. You generally want it to do nothing, otherwise you're going to fill up your Minecraft directory with ID dumps. And then you get a button here which, when you click it, will actually write the ID map, and that is basically just going to be a great big long list of all the item IDs and block IDs and what they're being used for. And the way we have this configured, it's going to dump the unused ones as well. So that's going to tell us exactly where the spaces are. And this settings button will then take you back to the main options menu, and we can go and have a look at the NEI plugins options, which is it's kind of a separate mod. It's a plugin for NEI, but what it will do is it will add in support for quite a few of the popular mods. So I think specifically forestry, buildcraft, industrial craft, some of those things add extra machines and things like that in, and this will allow you to see that as part of your NEI recipes. And this is basically just covering the different options that the plugin has, which you can choose to ignore the inactive plugins. So if you don't have one of the plugin mods installed, then it won't check for an update for it. You can also toggle the OR dictionary settings and whether or not it's going to display all your fuel information in your tooltips. And by that, if we hover over this, you can see in the tooltip it's going to show us how much EU is going to use or produce, or how much heat. If we had railcraft, it would show the heat on there, and things like that. So that's where all the options for that are. They're in the NEI plugins options, and you can toggle them as you see fit. And that, I think, is pretty much NEI covered. Hopefully I didn't miss anything out. I did miss something out, and I'm going to talk about that now. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sword out, or a couple of swords. One thing that I didn't cover, and I almost forgot about, if you press X, you'll bring up an enchanting menu. So you can actually use NEI to apply enchants to things, and this is mainly well, it's only available in, it will only work in cheat mode or if you're in creative, but you basically drop your item in there and you choose your enchant level. Now your enchant level is the level of the enchant that you're going to apply. So if we wanted sharpness 2 instead of sharpness 5, we just drop that to enchant level 2, click on sharpness 2, and what that will do is it will turn off all the similar enchants that you can't normally apply with sharpness. So smite and arthropods is gone, but we can add knockback, and if we wanted to say knockback 5, we can add that, and looting 5, and looting 5 is probably not normally available. I think looting 3 is the highest, but we can add, I think, up to looting 10, or up to rank 10 of any of these enchants, to be fair, if we wanted to. Now you can also toggle that to turn that off and remove the enchant. So if we actually wanted sharpness 10 on there, we can have that as well, and these will change depending on what you're trying to enchant. So if we had a pickaxe in there, then you would get your unbreaking and your fortune and things like that. Efficiency, unbreaking, and fortune. There we go. So that's the enchant. Now that defaults on the X key. So if you just press X, that will turn that on for you. And actually, that locked and unlocked button, that basically means that you can choose to abide by the restrictions for your enchants or ignore it. So here, if we're going to ignore it, we can have protection 5 on our diamond sword. What you'd want that for, I don't know, but you have the option there to do that if you so choose. So there you can reproduce your paper cutter from your Vex maps if you want. So there we go, guys. That is NEI. Hopefully you found at least some of this useful. I know most of you use NEI on a regular basis anyway, but in any case, I thought that covering all of the different parts of NEI would be worthwhile. So if I've missed anything out, by all means let me know, because there may be stuff that I don't know about. Any corrections, post them in the comments as well. If you liked it, hit like. Even if you didn't like it, well, you can hit like if you like. It's entirely up to you. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.